class, I just want to give you a few tips and some insight into the Business Law 2 course. First of all, I have to be honest and tell you that it's a pretty tough course. From teaching this, I don't know, it's been lots and lots of years. I've had many students in the class, and while they really enjoy the subject matter, some of the content is kind of tough. So if you're taking a full load or an extra class, or you have extra things going on in your life, I just want to let you know up front that this is not a class you can easily slide through or skip some stuff and expect to make a good grade. It does take some effort and some diligence on your part to keep up with the readings, to ask questions. Some of the content is more difficult than others. So let me also share with you that typically the first 4 weeks, weeks 1 through 4, are a little more difficult or challenging for most of the students. And so you'll want to devote enough time and attention to the first 4 weeks in particular to make sure that you understand the concepts. There are going to be a lot of rules about the Uniform Commercial Code. We'll be talking about negotiable paper, and the rules that go with them also have exceptions to the rules, kind of like what we talked about in Business Law 1. I also need to ask you to ask questions. If you don't understand a concept, then it's my job to try and help everybody understand it. And oftentimes the question you have is one that other students would have as well. So it's a win-win. So be sure and ask questions. This weeks 5 through 8, so the second half of the session, most students find it to be a little more easy because the concepts are not as difficult. Now, having said that, there's a lot of information. We'll be covering lots of different laws and topics that you need to know about. So still, there's a lot to know. And again, you can't just slide through even in those weeks. I also need to point out it's very important not only that you keep up with the readings, but that you participate in class. I have had students, believe it or not, who have not passed the course by 1 or 2 points. And usually what that comes down to is those students did not participate in class and particularly didn't post their weekly responses. You're required for posting 3 responses at a minimum to other students' posts. So be sure you do that. It helps everybody, it helps the discussion, it makes it a lot more enjoyable for everyone in class. So make sure you don't miss out on those response posts. Let me talk about the exams too. You have a midterm and a final exam. Part of it will be subjective and part of it will be objective. This is an upper level course. So you need to be able to explain concepts, you need to be able to talk about them just like you and I were sitting here. That's how you need to be able to write it when it comes to a short answer or a long answer question. So keep that in mind when you're studying the different topics. The class also requires a paper, and while the topics are pretty straightforward, and I've given you lots of information on how to do that, I find that often students don't take it very seriously. It's a big part of your grade. It does require time and effort. I strongly recommend that you plan now how and when you're going to research, when you would have time to write it and edit it, because grammar and spelling and all those kinds of things are just as important as the content, and you will be doing some legal research as well. So if you plan it, put it in your schedule, don't wait till the last minute, then you should do fine. But students that don't and put it all together at the very end, they do not do well at all. Can you stop it for a second?